Yo, how the heck are you? Allow me to get right into it. I posted a video earlier, by the way, about new albums, and I reviewed the new Music Grush album. I was talking about all the other albums that have come out this week, and I'd never heard of them. Someone recommended O. The album's called Weirdos. I did listen to it. I just listened to it. And also, whoever mentioned that to me, in fact, let me look this up. I have my computer right here in front of me. Let's see. Spectrum Archives. Spectrum Archives. Thank you very much for your comment. I've never seen you pop up before. So thanks. Spectrum Archives said that, the band are actually pretty amazing. Saw them live at a festival in 2022 when they didn't even have any music out yet. It was insane. So he mentioned, he said he liked them. I did just listen to the album. I just got done listening to it. And I received some movies in the mail at the same time as I was listening to that album, which I'm going to talk about now. But I do have to say that I thought was shit. It's just my opinion. I thought it was dreck. I thought it was intensely boring. I thought their sound, they're trying to dig up a sound that was that happened a long time ago through bands like Atari Teenage Riot and Kid 606. If you like and you think they're representing something new, that's cool. I don't think you've necessarily heard the music that they're ripping off. And I just named two bands that they are clearly ripping off. And even if they don't know they're ripping them off, they certainly are. Kid 606, Atari Teenage Riot. As I was listening to those two bands I couldn't help but think of these two bands. I also read the review on Pitchfork of and of course they liked it. Which automatically generally means I won't like it. Pitchfork, I just think, is an embarrassment to music criticism. I think they have pretty much always employed people who don't know what they're talking about, who don't have any sense of history. And I don't want this to turn into like a Pitchfork slam, but generally Pitchfork just has no clue what they're doing. You read their writing and it's just fluff. They'll put 4 or 5 paragraphs out about an album, and it's just mental masturbation. They're not really even talking about the music. They'll just talk about some peripheral thing, trying to make themselves look good, trying to make themselves look smarter, more educated. But those of us who listen to music know better. Pitchfork sucks. Generally, again, their music criticism is way, way subpar compared to other outlets. If you want me to give you some other outlets, I could give you one or two. I think most outlets on the web when it comes to album review are pretty shitty, pretty bad. People just love doing quick capsule reviews and a couple of paragraphs. They throw some genre tags out there, and then they're done. And Pitchfork is the worst at that. But they love and they made a comment about how they were making music that hadn't been done before. I'm like, bullshit. No. This has been done before, and it's been done 3 decades ago, okay? So Pitchfork, just do better. Educate yourselves. You guys are writers. Pitchfork is seen to be like the musical Bible of the internet. And I know Pitchfork sucks, and the vast majority of people who read music criticism also suck. But they also believe these reviewers. So I'm giving you a tidbit and a tip. Something that Pitchfork would be too ignorant or just plain stupid to give you because they don't know about it. Kid 606 and Atari Teenage Riot. You think is good and presenting new and out there forward-thinking sounds? No, they're actually delving way back into time. I think a lot of people just forget about those other bands that happened 3 decades ago, but they're there. You want to do the research, you want to do the excavation, that stuff is there. So anyway, I know I'm getting off on a tangent here. Spectrum Archives, thank you for commenting. It's nice to have you. I don't agree with you, obviously, with I thought it was an annoying nod to music that I never thought was that good to begin with. I was never a fan of those other bands I've already mentioned. They are definitely taking that spirit and attitude from groups or people like Alec Empire, for example. Now, that is my opinion, but that's what I hear when I hear So anyway, thank you for the recommendation. I appreciate it. I never claim to know what I'm talking about. But I do know a lot about music, and I have heard a lot of music, and oh, sucks. And I will never be listening to them again. Now, I'm going to get into some movies now, and then I'll quickly go away. I got 3 4K discs today. 3. Count them, 3. And one of the movies I've never even seen, but I very much look forward to it. That movie is The Case of the Bloody Iris. Excuse me, I'm going to take a drink. I talk a lot and my throat gets dry. I run my mouth and all kinds of shitty things happen. I have never seen this movie. But I love how these tiny little companies are taking these random B movies from across the planet and they're upscaling them into 4K. It's just beautiful. This is like a glory. It's a beautiful time to be a 4K DVD Blu-ray collector. I mean, everything's coming out. They upscale everything to 4K, man. And this is just like a classic Giallo film. I've never seen it. Case of the Bloody Iris. I look forward to seeing it. It's loaded with bonus features, and I look forward to seeing it. I haven't seen it. I don't care. I bought it anyway because, I mean, the cover art alone. Look at this cover art. That's the big draw for a lot of these physical discs anyway. The cover art. It's nice to have it in your hand. And again, you know, once this gets produced, you'll probably never see it again. Maybe you will, but it's just nice to have these really random B movies from the past that you've never even heard of get these big lush 4K treatments. I love this kind of shit. I look forward to seeing this. If anybody wants to hear my take on this, let me know. I'll let you know. I look forward to that. Now, the next 2 are stone cold classics as far as I'm concerned. I'm happy to have these. Prince, Purple Rain. Now, those of you who grew up in the 80s as I did, do you remember at this point of Prince's career? How can you forget? This guy ruled the earth. This guy was the shit. And this was his absolute peak right here, 1984. This is when he couldn't have been more on top of the world. This was his absolute obscene peak right here. 1984, Purple Rain. Prince. Now, this is not my favorite Prince album. I know it's a lot of people's favorite Prince album. I don't know. I mean, it's arguable. This is a fucking phenomenal album. Everything Prince did, all the way up through Lovesexy, is amazing. I am a huge Prince fan. 70s and 80s Prince fan. I've said this before. I did a video on Prince's 1999 box last year. That's arguably my favorite Prince record. Sign of the Times is right there. It's an argument between those two. This would be a top 5 Prince album for sure. I mean, Purple Rain, come on. What an album. Beautiful stuff, and this was his peak. I don't think, and I know this is probably going to be blasphemy with a lot of you Prince fans, but I do not think Purple Rain, the movie, has aged very well. I loved it back then. When you're a 12-year-old boy and you're watching this movie, you're obsessed. And I loved this movie. I saw it in the theater. I made my parents drag me into the theater because I was underage. This was rated R. And as an 11, 12-year-old boy, you know, I was more than excited to see it. I think I ended up getting the VHS tape too when it came out. Saved up my money and I bought it. I rewatched it. It was all over cable. Those of you who had HBO and Showtime back in the 80s, back when they actually showed movies, they showed this a lot. I can remember my parents buying a VCR in the early 80s. VCRs were like $500 back in 1981 money. I mean, imagine. $500 is a lot now. They were $500 in 1981 when my parents first got their VCR. But that was a very exciting time for me. It opened up the world of home video, man, big time. And movies would show on cable, HBO and Showtime, and I'd record them onto the VCR. I'd rewatch them and watch them again. And this is one of those movies. I can't remember. I think it was HBO that showed this. Maybe it was Showtime. I don't remember. But this is definitely a movie that I recorded and rewatched and rewatched and rewatched. Now, I don't think it's aged that well. I really don't. In fact, it's kind of, When you're a kid, you don't see all the cheeseball parts of it, but there are some seriously cheesy moments in this movie. But that's part of its charm as well. But it's Prince, you know. It's I think he's literally one of 10 geniuses that I could legitimately call a genius in music of the last half century, maybe even the century. I think Prince just kind of stands alone in a lot of aspects. He was a raging genius when it came to not just the quality of his music, but the quantity, like the amount of great shit this guy pumped out at will and then didn't even release. If you want to know more about what I'm talking about, go watch my 1999 video, which is full of like all this shit he never even released until that box set came out. The stuff that Prince chose to not even release was better than most of the stuff other bands were releasing. Anyway, we all know Prince was a genius, and this movie hasn't aged all that well, but it's still really fun to watch. I look forward to watching Morris Day as well. I always like The Time. I always thought they're kind of goofy and funny. Purple Rain. And the last one I received today, and this is the perfect week for this to get released. Team America, World Police. Every 4th of July, I watch this movie. This is the ultimate American movie. And it's just one of the greatest comedies of all time, as far as I'm concerned. Is it better than South Park the movie? I don't know. I'd put them close together. Some days I feel like South Park is, but Team America is fucking brilliant, man. I love this movie. There's not a single second in this movie that's not hilarious. I think most people, I could safely say, love Trey Parker and Matt Stone on some level and what they deliver and what they have given the world and consistently given us. Like, they're still funny. South Park is still around and it's still funny. But this kind of just stands alone because it is separate from South Park, but it's still got that goofy, raunchy, animated humor. Obviously, I mean it's puppets, but what a brilliant movie! This is one of the smartest comedies you'll ever see. I've said this before, I think, in past videos, but I think Monty Python is the top level of humor that humanity has ever reached. Like Monty Python is in its own air. But I think in terms of all of the many people who have tried to ape and copy what Monty Python did, just like the core value and the core humor and the core audience and just the core thing of what Monty Python did, I think that the one team or the two people that have been able to take that magic of what Monty Python did and put it into a film form or a TV form or whatever you want to call it form is Trey Parker and Matt Stone. I think this is, other than Monty Python, this is the most brilliant humor you can ever find. It's that perfect mixture of incredibly intelligent and extremely stupid humor all mixed into one. And no one does it better. And this is a brilliant movie. Team America, it's the 4th of July. No better time to watch this. Go watch Team America. What a brilliant movie. Watch Purple Rain again. I don't think it's aged that well. And I look forward to watching this. Case of the Bloody Iris. A lot of these movies are shit. You look at the cover and you're like, oh man, I have to see that movie. And then you pop the disc in and you're like, oh god, that movie was terrible. But I'm happy to have this. I like to support these tiny little independent companies. I don't mind giving them my money for a movie I haven't seen. It's got a smattering of bonus features. It's 4K. It's going to look nice. I'm excited. I hope you're excited too. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.